Hello, everybody. This is Greg29407 back with another episode of City of Heroes. Well, we are here with a new character of mine. It's Mr. B Natural. We're in Striga Island, and Mr. B is dancing around. If any of you old timers out there may have grown up with Mystery Science Theater 3000 back in the 80s and 90s, you may recognize Mr. B Natural from a short they did on that show. Of course, they always made fun of movies and really bad TV shows and things like that. And Mr. B Natural was a short subject film that they found from the 1950s about the joy and spirit of music that would teleport into people's teenagers' rooms at night, young boys at night, and tell them about the power of music and how wonderful music was. And Mr. B Natural was like kind of a Peter Pan ripoff. Instead of having a green outfit, they had like a light blue outfit. But much like Peter Pan, when it's performed on stage, instead of having a little boy play the role, they have a woman play the role. And that's what they did with Mr. B Natural. And basically, it was just a sales gimmick to try and convince parents to spend lots of money on musical instruments for their kids so that the kids can be in the high school band and be more popular, which never worked. But anyway, it's a hilarious short. And Mystery Science Theater is on Twitch now 24 hours a day. And I saw Mr. B Natural short once again a couple of weeks ago. And it's so hilarious and hilariously bad. I said, I think Mr. B Natural would be a sonic blaster if he was in City of Heroes. And here we are. I updated the uniform a little bit. The previous uniform was really 50s style. Looked like they got the costume out of someone's closet. So here's Mr. B Natural. Mr. B is a sonic mental blaster. And I thought that was a really nice combination of powers. What I want to do is go over the power sets together and see how they work well and some of the shortcomings on it, because there are some. Back in the day, I played a sonic fire blaster back when the game was live. That was pretty good. I think that's becoming very popular now. It was okay at the time. So Sonic is got some issues, but it's also got some pluses, and so does Mental. The big thing about Sonic Blast is that it decreases the resistance on your enemies by 13% for blasters. Now, a lot of people will say that if you're going to play Sonic, what you ought to do is play a Sonic Defender, because Defenders will decrease resistance on enemies by 20%, which is huge. Great on teams. I'm not a big Defender fan. I just don't like playing Defenders, so I wasn't really interested in that. Now, if you play a Sonic Corruptor, you get a 15% decrease on enemy resistance. So that's slightly better than this. I think there are Sonic Sentinels. Unfortunately, Sentinels are not on this particular server. If there were, I would play that in a second, because I really like Sentinels a lot, as you guys know. But that's not available. And anyway, no matter what you play, the only way to play Sonic Mental is in a blaster. And I like this combination quite a bit. So here we are. Let's take a look at the power sets. Again, the big gimmick for Sonic is that it decreases enemy resistance, which is fantastic on teams. Somewhat helpful on solo, not as much though, but on teams is awesome. So let's go over the power sets. The first power here is Shriek, and Shriek does minor damage. It's your typical level 1 power. It's pretty decent. I've got it here. I am a little short on single attack powers, so I need to use that one for sure. So that's Shriek. Then we have Scream, which does moderate damage. That's a good one. And again, Sonic does a combination of smashing and energy damage, and Mental does psionic energy damage. So that's sonic damage. So that's a pretty good combination. Next we have Howl, and Howl is a cone, which means a lot of people will immediately not use this power. I like it a lot. It's a decent sized cone. Let me see if I'm not sure exactly what it was. It's a decent cone, and it's really good for team play. For solo play, it's not really that useful. The next power, which I did not take, is Shockwave. Shockwave is also a cone. It does minor damage, but it does knockback. And a lot of people will skip Howl and take Shockwave because it does have the knockback, which helps keep enemies away from you when you're solo. And this is a better power for solo. Now, again, on teams, knocking all your enemies back kind of drives your teammates crazy. And the big knock on Sonic is the sound effects of these attacks, which is, after about 3 or 4 hours of playing this character, you got to kind of try something else, because the sound effects of these Sonic powers is really irritating. So you don't want to go into a team and irritate everyone with your sound effects and knock back all your enemies. I mean, you're going to be like, it's like being a demon mastermind in a purple cave mission. It's like, oh no, please, we're never going to get this thing done. They're powerful, but no, you know. So I found that Howl is a little bit better, but that's a personal choice. You can go either way you want to. Shout is heavy damage for single target, and this is really good. This is one of the main attack powers you're going to use. I've got that right here. It's very nice that you have the little symbols on the powers show, you know, small, medium, and large for damage. That helps out a lot. It helps me out a lot anyway. Next, we have Amplify, and Amplify is basically build-up. From this combination, we have two build-ups. We have Amplify for Sonic, and we have concentration on mental. So you got these two right here. We always got a build-up available, which is really nice. The next power is kind of the key to the entire set for solo power play. This is a Siren Song, and it's a cone, and it puts your enemies to sleep. And they go to sleep for this power out of the box recharges in about 20 seconds, and the sleep lasts for 34 seconds. Well, that's really good. And it's a Mag 3, which means it's going to work on all your minions and some lieutenants as well. This is the power you're probably going to start off most of your attacks with when you're playing solo. You put a group of enemies asleep, and then you start picking them off one by one. Very helpful, very useful. It's a really strong power. On teams, it's useless. You'll never use this because, you know, you're going to put them to sleep and everyone else is going to wake them up immediately. It's a waste of time. Next is Screech. This is also a single target. This is a stun, and this is also a really, really good power. You have your sleep and you have your stun. We're going to get to a couple other powers like the little control bits of control powers as well. So if you do a Siren Song on a couple guys and the third guy runs up, you can use Screech on him to put him into a stun state. The stun lasts a decent amount, not as long as the sleep, but it's decent amount to get him out of your way until you start working something else. This is also Mag 3. And then finally, the big power in your set is Dreadful Wail. This is your nuke. And back in the day when the game was live, you could use this power, and it had a super long recharge on it. And also, after the power wore off, you were spent. All your endurance was drained, and you were like weak as a puppy. You had to like run away and hide until you could gain everything back. They've done away with that, which is nice. So now, this is just a great power to use. It's a PBOE. And what I do is I hover over a big group of enemies, use this, and watch them all just drop. It's really great. And AFK here. So that is our Sonic powers. Again, the main knock on Sonic is, well, there's a couple of them. Number one is the sound effects are really irritating, and they are. But then again, Mr. B Natural was really, really irritating in their video, so this is perfect for him, for Mr. B. And so it works out really well. The other thing is, a lot of people say that Sonic is one of the weaker blast sets. We are a little bit limited in terms of single target attacks because we do have a couple of really good, or three very good group attacks, either PBOE or ranged, either PBOE or combs, but then we also have a sleep and a stun as well. Now, if you look at the raw numbers, it's not that big of a decrease from the other ones. It's a little bit limited in terms of powers, but it's not that big of a decrease. If you're min-maxing, this is probably not the set for you, But if you just want to have a character that's fun to play and something to do, then this is not bad at all. The other thing, though, I read an article someone had written, because the resistance decrease on your enemies is so powerful, and again, at 13%, what happens is, if you're in a team and you hit everyone, this is what I do on teams, I hit everyone with Howl, and then I hit everyone with Psychic Scream over here on the mental, which we'll get to in a minute. That way, what I've done is I just hit everyone in an entire big group of enemies. What happens is every enemy in that big group, if you're on a team, is now 13% weaker, which means that you've given all of your teammates basically a mini build-up. They now do 13% more damage to the enemies. So it's like giving a little mini build-up every single time. Now, in short battles, it doesn't really make a big difference. It's kind of helpful, not much. But if you are going up against an arch villain or a giant monster, something like that, over anything that involves a really long battle, Sonic becomes more and more effective because that minus resistance adds up, and it really makes a big difference over a long period of time. So if you're playing against the Clockwork King, you and your team, and you keep hitting him with your Sonic powers, that minus 13% is going to make a huge difference. Your team's going to be able to do much more damage to the Clockwork King, not kill him a lot faster, save a lot of lives. It becomes one of the top blast sets because of that. But on short-term attacks, it's just kind of a mediocre one, I think. If you go for theme, which is what I always do, I went with this because of theme. It's fine. If you're trying to min-max, this is probably not the set for you. Our secondary here is mental manipulation, and our first attack is subdual, which is basically a complete waste of time power. You get at level 1. It says moderate damage over time. It says it also does immobilization. To be honest with you, it does slightly better damage than Brawl. I guess you get a little bit of DOT, but I think it's like -1s. I don't slot it for anything. It's kind of the next one is Mind Probe. This is a melee attack. It does moderate damage. I did not take any melee attacks on this character. It's just a personal choice. Just for this particular character because I want to keep her at range. I keep her at hovering. I'm always using hover. I do have some PBOE attacks where I can jump in and jump back out and stuff. But these are pretty powerful attacks, both Mind Probe and Telekinetic Threat. They do really good melee damage. This one does minus recharge. The Telekinetic Thrust does knockback, which again I'm not a fan of. And this is minor damage anyway. So I stayed away from the melee. Next is Psychic Scream. And this is a cone again. It does moderate psionic damage and minus recharge on your enemies. So again, what I do when I'm on a team, I start off with Howl and Psychic Scream. I want orange numbers over everybody's heads. Howl gives minus resistance on everybody, and then the team moves in and just goes crazy on the enemies. These two are great powers. Solo, I don't use either one of them. So next we have Concentration, and this is again another build-up power, plus damage, plus to hit. So again, these two right down here, and I just kind of alternate between the two. Next we have Drain Psyche, and this is the very popular power in the mental manipulation group. It's PBOE, and what you do is you go in here and you click on this button, and what it's going to do for you is it's going to drain your enemies regen recovery and give regen recovery to yourself. So it kind of boosts yourself up. So this is going to keep your green bar and blue bar going up really fast, which is really helpful on this character because again, it's a blaster, which means they're glass cannons, and they have a hard time with taking damage and stuff, and you will be taking damage because you're a blaster. You're doing blaster damage, so Next we have World of Confusion, and this is a toggle power. Let me turn this thing on. It's not a big range here. It's like 8 feet. It's a confuse power, and I was really excited to get this because I use confuse powers a lot on my plant characters, and it's really useful. to be honest, this is not a very good power from what I've seen so far. It does some damage too, which I think is weird. What you do is you run in or hover in with this bubble and mag 2. So minions that fall into this bubble, they will get a little confused thing over their head. They'll start fighting each other. But it takes a little while for it to register on them. So when you float in, you hover in or run in, they're going to hit you first before it takes effect. And then they're going to start hitting each other, which is great. But, and 8 feet is very tiny. That's not a big bubble, so you got to get really tight, close in there with these enemies, and you got to get them really locked in. What I found is you can get one guy in the bubble after he's hit you once, so you already took some damage, and then his friend is going to be over here outside your bubble shooting at you, and this guy inside is going to be shooting at him, not very effectively. So I don't know. It's not very. I've got it set at 2 accuracies and 2 confused. I may take one of the slots out of this thing and put it into sleep so I can get a little bit more mileage out of that. It's more useful. Yeah, this is a disappointing power. It's a disappointing one. Yeah, I took it, but I may redo that one. So it's not very good. The next power is really good though. It's Scare, and this is a fear power. It's a single target fear, and what this does is you put it on your I think it's mag 3. Well, let me double check that. Hang on. I don't want to give you some false information here. Let's see. Let me see here. And the internet's going really slow. Come on. It went all the way back. Okay, Blaster. Let's see here. Mental manipulation. Scare. This usually doesn't take so long. Okay, this is mag 3. Yes, mag 3. And for about almost 12 seconds. So that's not bad. And so yeah, that's a pretty useful power. So again, I've got these right down here. I got my sleep, my stun, and my fear right next to each other. These are all really good. This is a cone. These are single target, so I'll hit them with the sleep. I can hit some guy with a screech, some guy with a scare. It works really well. I may take this one off and do something else with it, but we'll see. So those are those powers. The last power in the set is Psychic Shockwave, which I have not gotten yet. I'm at 37, so I'm close to getting to 38 while I'll take this one. This is a PBLE attack power. It does high damage, and it also does a stun. You have to move in close. So it's going to be kind of like Dreadful Wail, where I'll probably hit them with a lot of other attack powers. I'll probably use this more in teams, but I can use it elsewhere too. But I may use it more in teams, and so I can use my Howl and my Psychic Scream. And as my team's going, I'll just sometimes what I'll do is I'll hover over the group of enemies, hit Dreadful Wail. I can hit Psychic Shockwave and Dreadful Wail, or alternate them. This is much more powerful than this one, but still, it's more good group damage, that kind of thing. So that's a pack. Now, what I'm also taking on this character is I'm taking the fighting powers, which I'm not sure if it helps that much on blasters, but I do like taking Tough and Weave to try and boost up my damage or my resistance a little bit. So I've got minor resist. I haven't slotted it up yet. I've taken Tough, but I haven't put any slots into it yet. I'm taking those later. So I'll get some smashing lethal resistance, which is nice. Minimal defense, but I'm also I'm thinking about taking temporary invulnerability as well from the epic power pool. I'm going to take like a personal force field and temporary invulnerability. So these numbers will be higher, just to give me a little bit more protection. And that this kind of thing does help. The defense doesn't really help out much, but I'm probably going to put in a Luck of the Gambler in Weave so that I can move faster, because I do want my attack powers to recharge much quicker. because with blasters it's all about the damage, and if I can get these things to go a little bit faster than they are, I'll be in great shape. So that is the power set. Let's go ahead and do at least a portion of a power so we can see what we're doing. Right now I'm in Striga Island, and what I've been doing is the Stephanie Peebles story arc, which we've covered before, because I do want to get that the wedding ring, which is great for resistance. And so got to defeat all villains in the boat. We're not going to defeat them all on this video. I want you to see how we do the solo attacks in this thing. All right, so here's a group of 3. I know those guys over there too. All right, so let me put on. I'm going to do my sleep first. All right, so they're all out. There's one. Now see, if I get my recharge up, I'll have these things come up much quicker than this. Do the next one. Look how long that sleep is lasting. This guy. Let's see how long we can wait. Yeah. That's not bad at all. That was really good. All right, so let's go ahead and do sleep on these 3 guys. I'm going to put fear. I'm going to put a stun on him. Now he's stunned. Under my control. Oh, and I miss. That's always great. Still stunned. Nope. This teleporter guy. Uh-oh. No. The last guy just woke up. Let's put the fear on him. Now he's going to attack every time I attack him. Once. And then he goes back into his fear state. Okay, I'm gonna put on my Roll of Confusion so you can see that. Here's the bubble. I'm gonna float into these 2 guys. See, they attack me first. They're in my bubble. This guy's okay. He's confused. This guy is still not confused. Now he's confused. All right. Now they're all confused. Then they come out of their confused state. I guess if I hit them, he hits me. Now they're out of my bubble. I don't know. I guess there's a reason for having this power. I don't know. Where's that guy going? He's gonna shoot me from all the way across the room? Oh, come on! Did you see that? He shot me from all the way over there, around that box. Come back over here, doofus. There you go. All that running got you nowhere. This guy to sleep. Probably didn't need to do that. He was attacking. He's by himself. It doesn't matter. Put a stun on that guy. I'll blast this dude. So again, these 3 single target attacks I get a huge amount of use out of. So anything that will help recharge these 3, the better. Let me show you the subdual. Did 13 damage. Another 12. Okay, another 12, another 12. All right, so it's doing something. But slow DOT. Slow DOT. It's not horrible, I guess. But it is really slow. Okay, let's do the sleep. We'll get the initial attack off. Which is why it's nice to have it's nice to have tough on them. Okay, next guy. And then the final guy, as I wait for my powers to come back up. As you can see, this is not a character I'm going to play at +4 times 8. I'm not going to boost up the damage on the character like this for solo play. That would just be terrible. Uh-oh. See, this guy was behind the box. All right, so I'm going to put a stun on him. The stun doesn't last as long as the sleep. Oh, I missed. Oh, come on. Put a fear on him. Because I didn't need to do that. Push him off. Okay. Now the other thing, interesting thing about this character is when we do I'll do an episode later on team play, and this character plays totally different on team play. We're not going to be using my sleep at all. Probably very little on my stun or my fear. It's going to be Psychic Scream. It's going to be Howl. It's going to be Dreadful Wail. It's going to be my build-ups. It's going to be all this stuff. Oh yeah, I should have been showing my build-ups too. There's a scientist. Do my build-up, my concentration. Well, you know how this works. Yeah, you know, just build up. Thank me. All right, great. Let me show you the big Dreadful Wail. I'll use this werewolf. Watch, this is Dreadful Wail. Oh, it didn't kill him. Wow. It stunned him, and then I missed. Okay. So, yeah, that's the big nuke. I'm surprised it didn't kill that even level guy. That's not so good. All right, let's go ahead and put sleep on these guys. Oh, we got all 3 of them. That's a pretty decent cone. We got all 3 of them. That guy was back here, too. Pretty impressed by that. Of course, in this case, you do not want to use your 2 cones because they'll defeat the purpose of putting them to sleep. Oh, wrong button. So Duel still can't kill this guy. There you go. Okay, so that's the first room in here. I'm going to continue to do this. I got 2 more researches to save and recover a specimen, which we don't need to go over. So that is our Sonic Mental Blaster. That's how we do solo. Again, it's going to be a slower type character. Right now I'm in double experience weekend, and I haven't done very much. I've only got 1 extra slot here, 1 extra bar from doing this thing. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a slow go. And but when we do the team stuff, you'll see how powerful this character is on the team, and how it really helps the entire team just boost their game up. Even though we're a blaster known for damage, we're going to be doing more support work than pure damage, which is, I find, kind of interesting. So we can do both support and damage on this particular combination of powers, which can be very useful. I like it. So until next time, this is Greg29407 saying sayonara, and we will see you next time.